Laura?
Here.
Amy? Peter?
Here.
Russ?
Here.
Allison?
Here.
And Beth?
All right, so we do have a quorum tonight, so we will move on to approval of the minutes. Our first one is April 28th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, are there any questions on that? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. We have the executive session minutes from May 18th. I look for a motion to approve those.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And then the minutes from May 26th. I need a, look for a motion to approve those.
So moved.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second again.
And I have a second. Any questions? All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motions are approved. Next, we'll move on to consideration of claims. I would look for a motion to approve the claims.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the claims? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the claims are approved. All right, we move on to petitions and comments from the floor. If anybody has anything they wish to bring to the RDC, please step up to the podium, state your name and address and what you have to say. And seeing no one, okay, we will close that portion of the meeting. Next, we'll move on to reports. Michael?
Real quick report on the Marquette Greenway Trail. They've got about 3,200 feet of stone down. They're gonna start paving next week, right? Or 2 weeks?
No,
Oh,
they won't
couple.
pave yet.
Can't pave yet, never mind. You gotta do, wait till we get change order done. But they got stone down so you can see where the trail goes. Groundbreaking is Friday, June 5th at 10 a.m. off of Howe Road at the parking lot by the Learning Center. And otherwise, everything's going fine. And we'll get to the other part, so that's all I got.
Okay.
Quick report.
All right, now there's no old business, so we'll move on to new business, the TIF capture consideration. So the RDC has determined that there is no excess assessment that can be allocated to overlapping taxing units. So I would look for a motion to capture 100% for 2027.
I will make that motion. I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, next we will move on to the Marquette Greenway Task, or Trail, Force Account, Change Order Number 1.
So we talked about a little bit last meeting. There's a crossing for BP's pipeline that we have to do. Lightweight fill to get across. So what we looked at was doing what's called a force account, which will be the easiest way to approve this going forward. It's going to be a not to exceed amount until we get the actual change order, which will be at the next meeting. The not to exceed amount is the original estimate, which we have now whittled down to about half of that, but the not to exceed is 92,070. When we actually do the work and can figure out how much it costs, we'll put a change order together for next meeting, but it's probably gonna be about half of that. So to proceed, we need to get the not to exceed amount approved first before we can do the work and get the change order. It's kind of chicken and egg thing. So Glenn's here to answer any questions about it, but we had a meeting today. BP pipeline's like 26 inches deep or whatever it is. It's very shallow. It needs to be deeper where it's at. It needs more cover. So part of the cost savings is we don't have to excavate material off the top of it. We can just put a grid down, geogrid down, and put the lightweight fill over the top. So that's going to save us quite a bit of money. Plus moving the material around. The contractors come up with a little bit more efficient way to move the material, so we won't move it 6 times and spend a lot of money doing that. But We should be able to get this done for somewhere around half of that, and then we'll actually have the real change order. But to proceed, we can't create a change order and we don't know how much it costs yet, so we're sort of backwards on it, but if we approve the not to exceed, we'll have the change order for the next meeting, more than likely, because they'll be able to do the work, so. It's the difficulty of working in a government project, I'll just put it that way. This is a lot easier to do in the regular world, but I can't authorize them to do that without the board saying, "Hey, we can authorize to do the work," so that's what we're trying to do. But the material comes from several hours away. It's a lightweight aggregate, or let's call it lightweight stone. They sell it, Reed's Nursery sells it as a mulch. I use it in my beds. It looks like lightweight stone. They call it stone bark, but they don't have enough for our material. And they cost way too much per shovelful and ordering from the supplier. But it's what BP is looking for something that's not going to weigh down on top of their pipe, so we have to use a lightweight material. The other option was boardwalk across it. The boardwalk costs significantly more than this does, so we'd rather not boardwalk across the top of that.
So I just have one question so I can picture this or make sure I'm picturing this correctly. So what it is the pipe isn't deep enough now, as deep as it needs to be relative to the surface. So we have a couple of choices, but the short version, we have to basically put more material between the walking surface and the pipe. So we're just gonna build up additional material on top of that.
Correct.
Yeah, and if we use
Okay.
regular stone, it weighs too much.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
so the options are what's called an air bridge.
Yep.
Air bridge, permanent air bridge, very expensive, temporary air bridge, cheap, but then we still have to build the trail. So there's no point in doing a temporary air bridge and then something else over the top, we're just adding costs, so. The boardwalk is wonderful, but the boardwalk's very expensive per foot, and it was more money than this, so.
And we still have to build the temporary area.
And you still gotta put the temporary air bridge in. Yeah, so it's just, that's wasted money, so we wanna do something permanent that we can put down, drive equipment over the top of and pave, and it stays that way, and it'll look nice when it's done. It'll look like it's supposed to be there instead of some weird thing in the middle of the field. It's literally in the middle of the prairie where you cross the pipeline. As the pipeline goes to the west and heads toward the railroad tracks, it gets much deeper, and it goes under the railroad tracks. So it's far deeper at the other end. Where we cross, it happens to be very shallow, so.
Got it. Thank you.
But it should only be about half of that when we're done. It's just the way we have to do this. I can't figure out another way to do it, so.
Okay, so the unit price is locked in, it's just, we're not sure about the quantity?
No, so the unit cost was super high just because it is special material and it was kind of inefficient. So what we're doing is like taking that total amount as the not to exceed number. What we've found today, after some additional coordination with BP, we don't have to, the actual quantity is going to be cut in half there. So they bid this, the price that they gave us was basically stockpile it on site, use an end loader to move it one bucket load at a time over to their, with the way that the way that everything else is worked out on this thing, they're actually gonna have most of the stone up to that pipeline crossing, so they'll be able to back the trucks right up to there, dump them and head on, so. It's moving pretty good out there, so far. So that's why we had this not to exceed number. They started thinking through it and not having this dedicated crew to just being able to only do this lightweight fill and able to do other things on the site. They would rather do it where they're tracking time and materials to do this work specifically and give everyone a fair price.
Okay.
So then I would need to look for a motion for the Marquette Greenway Trail Force Account, change order number 1, not to exceed $92,070.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Are there any additional questions?
Is there any opportunity to get financial support from BP in this, or is 26 inches below the ground to code?
So So this is still covered through the Next Level Trails grant here. Yeah, so BP, let's see, there isn't really, great guidelines, especially when this was installed in like 1950. So
Okay.
that's part of the other reason is it's almost in, I think 1947 was the easement date on this thing, so it's almost 80 years in the ground at this point in time. What's happened in the years since they installed it, it could have been installed at 36 inches before and just farmed over the years. I know that, yes, some like environmental grants for some other things, if there's some ask there, we can coordinate that through as they get some things going on, so.
It's understandable.
We're still under our grant amount too, so.
Okay.
We're not over.
All right, does anybody else have any other questions? All right, hearing none. All in favor of approving this, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's approved. All right, next we will move on to the milestone contractors pay request number 1 for Marquette Greenway.
Yeah, you can skip that.
I can skip that? Okay.
That was in the claims, yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
All right, so next we're gonna move on to resolution, PRC 2026-02. It's a resolution for purchase of property at 15 East US Highway 20. This is an amendment to the original resolution. So I would look for a motion to approve the resolution.
I will motion to approve resolution number PRC 2026-02.
I will second.
Okay, I
PRC 2026-02.
have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? All right. Hearing none, then, would you call a roll call vote, Karen, please?
Laura,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Russ,
Aye.
Peter,
Yes.
All right. Resolution passes. Next, we will move on to resolution PRC 2026-03, which is a resolution of the Redevelopment Commission to amend our annual spending plan. Basically, what we're doing is we allocated $45,000 in our spending plan for fire department or police expenses for capital improvements, wages, etc. We are amending that to add $85,000 in for a total of $130,000 for that type of wages or capital equipment purchase, whatever. So I would look for a motion to approve this.
I actually have a question then though, Russ. That should be under F, right? F should be the amended amount. F does not indicate it's amended. But, was it C does? C. Am I reading that correctly? That according to this, we'd be amending C and not F?
It's F is what we would be amending.
Yeah.
Expenditures related to capital and
It doesn't
operating
say that
expenses
it's
for
the
police.
amended. Am I misreading something? That's what I'm asking. Am I misreading something how this is
I
worded?
don't know what you're reading.
So, if you go back to C,
C on what?
sorry, C on the same resolution, on the amended, on the exhibit A. It
Okay.
says as amended after C. Which makes me, the way I would read this, and maybe I'm misreading this, because I haven't done this before, maybe I'm misreading this, that would indicate to me that C is the amended amount. Whereas F has no note that's an amended amount.
No, and I think that that's C, but I need to double check. That was previous. I could be wrong on that, but as amended is at the top of it. Give me 1 second.
Yes, C is in the original spending plan as
Okay.
amended.
Yes, so there was a red line version, which you might not have the ability to have in front of you right now.
Okay,
And in that, just for the public, since we're doing it, right, as amended at the top,
yes.
under the initial caption, We amended the name of the president to make it current. We amended the date. Spending plan for 2026, added the language as amended. Under C, that was previously
Okay.
there prior to this version. And then F is what is getting amended to 130, and then the total at the bottom.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure I was not misreading something, misunderstanding what I was approving.
It's nice that you read it.
In that case, I have no other questions.
Okay, I will look for a motion to approve resolution PRC 2026-03.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll go ahead and second it. since
Okay, I
I make
have
it more
a
painful.
motion and a second. Are there any other questions on resolution PRC 2026-03? Hearing none, Karen, would you call it roll call vote, please?
Laura,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Russ,
Aye. All right, the resolution is approved. Next, we will move on to fire department equipment. Jay?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time tonight. First off, I'll recap on something real quick that is not directly, well, I guess it's kind of the same, kind of associated with this. Our part-time staffing the sun is right in my eyes, I'm sorry. That part-time staffing that you guys have graciously funded started a week ago today and has been going very well. And the crews have been very busy so far in just that week, so it's already paying off with even just station repairs and response to calls has been going really smooth and has started very busy. The department's been very busy in general, but it's going very well, so thank you for that. And through the summer, it's gonna be put to good use. The reason main reason I am standing here is, as most of you are aware, we are in the process of purchasing a new fire engine, or ladder fire engine, potentially, as we're waiting for the bond to go through. We do have a truck picked out, but one of the things as I go through this list, I want to point out is, this is general equipment. As long as the bond goes through, we know we're getting a new fire engine, whether it be the ladder truck that we have in mind or one in the future. We know one is coming, but even if one does not come, this is all replacing equipment that is 26 years old or older that is due for replacement. So that's what I'm looking to do here, is replace that old equipment. It is partly because of the potential of a new fire truck coming in, but it is needed equipment that has reached a service life.
And none of this equipment would, even if we had to get a different fire truck, none of this equipment would overlap with anything else we would get.
Nothing will overlap. There are two appliances on here that total $100. That are two extra appliances that I'm getting for that truck. And it's mixed in with a ton of other stuff. I mean, it's $100, two little appliances. And I would still use them even if it was a truck, but because of that truck, it's all stuff that we would use. It's not specific to that piece of equipment. It is equipment that has aged out that we usually replace on an engine. So that's why I'm trying to get a drop on that so it's ready ready so we can start using it when we can start using it, but so it's ready to if everything continues to go as planned with this truck purchase. The first one on that list is Genesis extrication equipment. The Genesis extrication equipment matches the current equipment that we use. We did get the 3 quotes on that. I will point out that there was one quote that was non-Genesis that was a little less. However, the problem that we run into if we change equipment, I will have mix match equipment that uses different battery platforms because that equipment cannot use the battery platform that we have. And then that means also, because we have annual service done on these, to maintain their working, that means I would be bringing in 2 companies that would be doing annual service on the equipment, which then would increase that price over the years versus one company servicing all of my extrication equipment, which all of my current stuff is Genesis, including the stuff I still have stuff from my heavy equipment. My heavy extrication stuff is actually from '95. That's on my rescue truck, is that heavy equipment. So, which I have, hopefully can replace that stuff someday, but the rapid response stuff is my priority right now. So it is a couple $1,000s cheaper, but we would definitely like to stay with what we are using, and this vendor is an exclusive vendor, to sell that equipment in our area. So that is 2 combo tools, which are spreaders and cutters, and 1 ram, which is like a big jack almost, best way to explain it, which are most common equipment used on an extrication or any type of machinery rescue. They do run on the battery system and be replacing a gasoline, 2 gasoline generators, and hoses and hydraulic fluid. We would be able to eliminate all of that, which reduces a lot of maintenance, and makes our operation much quicker. We're carrying a tool versus 2 trips to the truck carrying a pump and hoses and a tool. And that is for $49,682.50. The next one is a 2 SuperVac positive pressure fans, battery operated, which what those are ventilating smoke and CO from after a fire or after a CO leak in a residence. We use the battery operated. Again, it's less maintenance. We don't have the issues of gasoline engine maintenance. If any of you are familiar with small engine maintenance, it can be extreme pain. And battery operated, we cannot use a gasoline powered ventilation fan to ventilate a residence that we plan to be inhabitable, because it pumps CO into the residence. So we can't use it on a CO call, and if we just have a small fire, garbage can fire in somebody's house and it fills up with smoke, I can't even use it to get the smoke out for the residents to go back home, because I'm literally pumping more toxics into their house. So with new technology has come new fans. So this is for 2 of them, which one would go on the current engine and one would go on, one would go on each engine, whether new, old, where. That's for a total of $9,950. Next one is a FLIR K85 thermal imaging camera, also known as a TIC. That is our see-through smoke. We use those for search and rescue inside fires. We actually can use them on hazmat calls to be able to tell if a container, how full a container is with a liquid. We can use it for some search and rescue activities, some like urban search and rescue, somebody's lost in the woods type stuff, or things like that it can work for. And that again would be replacing a unit that is, I think 20 some years old. And that is also an extra battery, it's batteries, truck charger, and that is for $5,546. Akron intake valves, and additional fittings, those are just replacing old worn out intake fittings. That's where our 5-inch comes into the truck. The other fittings are where we connect to the fire truck where hoses go out. The 2 Akron valves are $4,481.60. These are a newer design than what we're using on the older engine. They work with a lot less resistance. Turning this big valve to open the valve into the fire truck, it has a big handle now. It has less resistance. 26 years of use on the other one, it's gotten a little stiff, and then that's for $4,481.60, and then some additional fittings, some worn out gated Ys, and the $100 for the 2 other fittings I was discussing, and some other things. That's $827.50. The next one is, and I'll be completely honest, this is actually new to the department, would be a new piece of equipment for the department. They are called V-struts from Impact Rescue. These struts are used in vehicle accidents if the car is unstable. They're used to stabilize the vehicle. And the way these are designed, like honestly leading up to now, one of the best things to use is actually we use wood. We use wood cribbing, and we got to build the wood cribbing up around the car. That takes time. It's not as efficient as these struts. You pull up, you connect a strap to them, you set the angle, you do a little ratchet, and that does much better what the wood that we've been doing since probably before I was born. Bought a really good deal on those. One of the reasons we have not purchased them in the past leading up to now is because they were probably, and still are, triple to quadruple that price of $3,016. So this would actually be something that went on our current engine, for going on the crashes, because our current engine will be the one that goes on the crashes. Supervac conversion kit. So what those do is, the Volunteer Firefighters Incorporated just spent, over $10,000 on buying 2 sets of everything Milwaukee, tools, chainsaws, drills, impacts, sawzalls, all of our battery operated stuff. Switching to Milwaukee, which would have the 2 trucks matching, which is again eliminating chainsaws that are gas driven, which is, if you talk about small engines, one of the worst things in the world is a chainsaw. Keeping that running healthy. So we'll change it all to battery powered, chainsaws, chop saws, sawzalls. And these conversion kits change those battery operated chainsaws to a ventilation saw for doing ventilation on fires. It puts the special carbide diamond tip on the chainsaw with a guide so we don't cut too deep. We like to have the guide on there so we set it the thickness of the roof so we're not cutting any trusses or roof supports when we're making our cuts. So again, that turns those Milwaukee saws into ventilation saws. And that's for a total of $1,791. And then the last thing is hand tools, mounting brackets for those hand tools, and some other miscellaneous equipment that's replacing all of our worn out pike poles and New York hooks and things like that for a total of $4,831.41. The total request that I have for you tonight is $80,126.01. I threw in an additional $2,000 to cover some shipping, because not every quote, because they don't include shipping on all quotes, even though I asked, because that market jumps up and down, and depending on what I order, and like the hand tool stuff is coming from like 5 different it's through one sales company, but they got to order it from 5 different of their vendors. So I wanted to give a little bit of buffer on that for the $2,000 in shipping, for a total of $82,126.01. And that is my total request.
Thank you.
I'm happy to answer any questions. Hopefully I didn't go too fast there. That was a lot of information, but yeah.
Actually, it's just one question. I should have looked it up and I forgot to. What is a dog bone hook?
Dog bone hook.
I just don't know what that is. My first thought was,
Is that in the hand tools one?
Yes, or something like that. I thought.
That's
right?
why I want to look to make sure that.
American Hook Dog Bone Line Green. Is that a brand or is that a specific type of tool? Because I slightly chuckled when I first saw that. I thought, do we actually have a Dalmatian that we're giving very expensive treatment?
No. So that is. I believe the dog bone part is referring to the handle.
Okay.
So they put a knuckle. You can get 3 different types of handles. Smooth, you can get a D handle, or you can get what they call the dog bone. So the dog bone looks like a little end of a dog bone.
Yep.
So your hand doesn't slip off. So you
Gotcha.
put it in the ceiling, and you
Yep.
pull down your hand, it gives you a little bit wider so your hand doesn't.
Thank you.
Doesn't.
Just a question about what it was.
Threw me for a second, so I'm like, we don't have a dog bone hook. What'd they sneak in there? I'm like, I did, yeah. So yeah, that's all that is. It's just a, end of a handle.
And I had a question about, so I understand correctly, we already have some Genesis batteries for existing equipment, electrical equipment through them?
Yes.
So some of the stuff would also be interchangeable, some of that, in some cases. Maybe, maybe not, but.
Unfortunately, no. Yes and no. So the positive part about all this is one of the reasons that the fire department went out and got all of the Milwaukee tools is because all of that is interchangeable, and it would be interchangeable with the new Genesis equipment. The problem is the old Genesis equipment, the 2 other sets, the two other combo tools that we have, they are Milwaukee batteries, but they want it on the battery that is an M28. It is not compatible with the other stuff. Genesis has switched from that because of that reason, but when we got that stuff, ordered that stuff 8 years ago, that's how they were doing it. So hence why the rest of why we're switching all to Milwaukee, because it will be interchangeable with this new stuff. Maybe down the line, we will have that. So the only thing that won't be interchangeable is that older Milwaukee equipment. But the new equipment, the new proposed equipment I'm proposing, it will be interchangeable with all of our other Milwaukee stuff. The positive part is that will go on a truck that will be interchangeable with everything on that truck. The other truck will not be 100% interchangeable, but, hopefully someday. But that was my goal, that was originally what I was trying to do, and, but I can't, unfortunately. And the really rough part is everything is battery operated now, so like even, I got trade-in value of some of the stuff, and it was like $5,000 for what we paid of like $100,000 worth of stuff. It's just depressing. But that stuff's, some of that stuff is like I said, was purchased in 95, and some of it was purchased in 2000, so it's really old, but still.
Everybody's probably looking for the same things, right? They have the same restrictions you do.
Yeah, nobody wants to go back to hydraulic and gas motors, they all want battery, so that's just the unfortunate boat that we're in. We don't get any trade-in value out of the stuff, so. Any other questions? All right, well, I'll let you guys discuss. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
So, I will look for a motion to approve Jay to purchase this equipment for $80,126.01 plus $2,000 for shipping, for a total of $82,126.01.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Does anybody have any questions, any additional questions?
I don't have any questions.
All right, then, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank
Jay,
you.
you may order your equipment.
Thank you so much, thank you for the continued support.
I'd like to also thank you all. My motive for supporting this, aside from believing that it's necessary equipment, is that it helps spread out the costs and protect our general fund some. So thank you all so much for that support.
All right, that concludes the new business, and so now we will move on to commission comments. Does anybody have anything they wish to say?
That was my comment.
No, jump down a little, that's all right. No? All right, then I will look for a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
All right, adjourn.
Thank you.
And I apologize for not making it last week to those of you. Russ, something came up and I just
No
couldn't
comment. Know what you need.
back in here.
We took a long trip to Michigan for the weekend, so, yeah, I don't think we got home till Thursday.